background is in networking and systems, kind of cybersecurity. Got onto the software side over a couple of years, kind of in the leadership role. So yeah, so kind of the cybersecurity guy.
Nice. And tell people a little bit about Tufin.
Sure. So Tufin's a security policy
Tufin.
company. Yeah, it's Tufin. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Get it right.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool that the whole background of the name. It's actually an Israeli pastry. We're an Israeli-based company.
Okay.
And our headquarters is in Boston, but we're a security policy management company. So we've been around for about 15, 16 years. We kind of started off more in the traditional network side, managing policy there. And we've brought the same technology into the cloud environment, cloud, Kubernetes, et cetera, into that environment. So, and the core of it is really around providing visibility in an agnostic way around what's talking to what, whom's talking to whom, but more importantly, allowing you to be able to automate those changes to allow for access. When we talk about policy, it's really talking about kind of those overarching policies in most organizations, which oftentimes, especially now, are regulatory. So like PCI, GLBA, maybe it's just guidelines that you follow, like 800-53, et cetera. So we allow you to be able to ensure that your enforcement points are applying that policy. And when you make changes in the environment, be able to automate it, and more importantly, kind of run what-if scenarios. If I put this change in, is it going to break my network or break my policy in some way?
Nice. So there's a lot of like security solutions there, and so many companies these days seem to be struggling with it and ending up with headlines, things like that. So how could they like readily use Tufin today and incorporate it into what they're doing?
Sure, absolutely. So really easily. I mean, and again, because we're agnostic and we can work in any type of network, even kind of a hybrid environment, we can work in the legacy side as well as on the cloud side as well, or I'd say microservices side as well, where we can provide that ability where you can come in, number one, first getting that visibility. Number two, creating what we call guardrails, which is essentially saying we're going to put a policy in place to ensure that you're enforcing what you need from a connectivity perspective. When we talk about cloud, and we're at KubeCon, so let's focus it more on the cloud, Kubernetes side. What it also allows for is to be able to build that into the pipeline. So as developers are developing the software, they're doing their build, their test, their QA prior to production, you can have those guardrails as a part of that process to say, doing that what if scenario. If I deploy this into production, what would it look like? What would communication look like? And, when you look at it, being agnostic, a lot of enterprise environments now are not just kind of isolated in one particular area. So just chatting to some guys earlier, and I was asking them about their Kubernetes deployment, and they said it's all over. Some of it is on-prem, some of it is in cloud. It's a mixed cloud environment. They're doing some stuff in AWS. They're doing some storage in GCP. So it's all over the place. And the beauty of it is that our product allows that enterprise organization to leverage us, regardless of whatever their architecture looks like.
Got it. And just kind of interesting from your perspective, from the customers you're seeing, are more of them coming to you early in the process, or does something bad have to happen and then they're coming over to you?
So, it's always the latter, right? Okay. So, but I'll be fair, the conversations I've had today, there's a lot more interest. And I think a lot of it was folks weren't necessarily going out and looking for stuff because they didn't know what was there, right? And I think there's a lot more available now from a product perspective. So folks are going out. The teams are more mature. They're more familiar. You have events like this that kind of focus on, cloud specific. So it allows for, that particular audience to then go out and see what's available. But yeah, typically it's a lot of times it's something's broken. I had a breach, let me figure out how I can go fix it. But again, I think a big part of it too, that's also, driving this is, we're all locked up last year. I mean, thank God we're out, et cetera, and we can actually meet face to face. But most organizations, and we saw it even with our companies that, we worked with for years, where they said, oh, we'll never put anything into cloud. That's crazy. That's nuts. They've all moved to this type of remote infrastructure. People are working from home. The convenience of it, you're not going into data centers anymore, et cetera. So at the end of the day, the hand's kind of been forced. And then working with it over the past year and a half, they realize the ease, the agility, the expanse of technologies that they have access to, they're staying with it. A lot of companies are not opening back their offices. They're going to have remote staff. And with that, you need remote technologies or remote enabled technologies. So, cloud and Kubernetes allows you to be able to do that.
That's really good, and sort of encapsulate some of the trends that you're seeing. And then if you sort of look into your crystal ball for 2022, especially around cloud and security, what are some of the things you think are going to start to jump out?
Sure.
Or that excite you?
Yeah, sure. So, so for us, because we primarily focus on the connectivity piece, what we see is huge and we see growing and it's going to only expand more, is software-defined, wide area networks, so SD-WAN, right? A lot of our customers are adopting that because, again, going back to the architectures of these environments, they're not built in using any single infrastructure. It's all over the place. So that's growing a lot, and I see that growing even more. I see a lot more adoption of serverless technology, right? So, from that perspective, it's only going to grow more, right? The efficiency of it, the speed of it, the agility of it. A lot of technologies are being built, based on that. One of the companies I was talking to, like their entire IT team, who joined like last year, they do everything in Kubernetes. They don't do it in anything else. I was like, how long? So I've been here about a year. So do you guys use any other type of it? They're like, nope, everything's in Kubernetes. So that kind of gives you an idea of, where things are going, where a lot of organizations are really adopting, the microservices. Even, we did a kind of revamp of our software over a couple of, 2-3 years ago, and we adopted microservices because it allows us that level of agility to be able to work on components of the application without having to go through this long, line of code. We can take out various components, work on that. We can be a lot more agile with our build and with our releases. Yeah.
Very cool. And then for KubeCon, what are your first time at KubeCon? You've been
No, I've been to KubeCon before. Actually, I was at the one where was it San Diego? I can't remember.
It's been Seattle.
Yeah, it was somewhere on the coast. Anyway, but definitely this year. I mean, obviously, attendance is a little bit lower. But all the precautions that they've put in place, right, it's pretty awesome. And again, utilizing technology, I use the Clear app so I could get in here today. So that's pretty cool. But good conversations, and kind of going back to the previous one I was at back in 2019, the conversations were a lot different. It was folks just didn't know. Now I'm having conversations and they're a lot more intelligent. Not saying that in a bad way, but in a sense that folks know what they're looking for. They know what they need to get. And they're actually, we've got a lot of folks walking up to the booth wanting to understand what we do, how we do it, how we can enable things, and how we can actually help them out. So, and the traffic's been good, so looking forward to, the event later on, when everybody's kind of doing the crawl and go from there.
Oh yeah, the tonight, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sort of for anyone looking to get into cloud security, maybe in middle school, college today, or into cloud, do you have any tips for them, career advice?
Sure. So there's the cool thing with or present day and time is that there's so much free stuff out there, right? So I've got a son who's 17. He lives on YouTube, right? I did some work at my house a couple of days ago. I found stuff on YouTube. So online there's so much information. There's one specifically that's a free online training for anyone, even if you don't have a technology background. It's called usa.generation.org. And they've got tons of free training, not plug-in Verizon, but they help kind of support that whole program. Right. But there's that, AWS has free training. So does Azure. You can get in and get free training. So the good thing is that foundationally, which is a great thing with cloud, which was different from when I was going up in networking and systems, I had to pay for all of that. Right. All this stuff is free right now. And there are tons of jobs and opportunities out there for it. And then the cool part is, again, different from networking and systems, you do it all from home. Right. So it's pretty easy, but yeah.
Very cool. And then last, anything else going on with Tufin? Any events you're going to be at? Anything else exciting that you want to let people know about today?
Sure. So not sure what we're going to do event wise for the next of the year, for the rest of the year, but we're definitely going to try and get into more events. Cross our fingers that RSA will actually be kept and we'll be able to go. That was actually my last trade show before everything shut down. I was at RSA. But for us, I think really it's continuing to forge forward, get more into the cloud again, because we came from more of the traditional networking side. We've got these very large legacy customers who are moved into cloud. We're definitely advancing our technology to be able to take advantage of this environment. On the Kubernetes side, we're very unique as well in the sense that, everybody throws around the word policy. And we love the fact that we're very unique in that when we say policy, it's literally really about enforcement. It's not really just about, code scanning or vulnerability management, though we can integrate a lot of those technologies into our product. It's really about pure play policy. Yeah.
Got it. Well, Burns, it was such an honor to meet you here today. Thanks for coming and talking to us about Tufin live from KubeCon. Lots of exciting things going on there. We'll be sure to put links out to it. So thanks again.
Absolutely. You can find us at www.tufin.com.
And you're on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. Yeah, it's Burns on Tech.
Burns on Tech?
Yeah.
Burns on Tech on Twitter. So there he is. Go follow him.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.